great player in the National Football League, and he understands that there's certain things that I've got to take care of. There's a certain foundation I have to be great, and he's maintained that through this offseason.
All right, CC, this is year 3 for Patrick Mahomes, but it's essentially year 2 for playing 2 full seasons, not just that one game. So what's going to be the biggest challenge for him as he gets ready to start this new season?
He's going to have a number of challenges. Every NFL season has obstacles that you're going to face regardless of what age you are, that being 22 or Tom Brady 42. Like, it doesn't matter. The game is that difficult. But what Patrick Mahomes, he has the benefit of having Andy Reid to be able to walk him through this, because Donovan McNabb, early in his career, he had a lot of success. There's been a lot of quarterbacks been successful early. How do they maintain that? Number one thing is he can't go back to the AFC Championship game and try to relive that. Trying to get back to the AFC Championship game, home field advantage, because then he would forget what he did last year. Because heading up into last season, no one had this type of expectations for Patty Mahomes. It's his first year starting. We had all types of questions. Is he going to be a leader? Can he do what he did the previous season in that little brief stint that he was in there? But it's hard for younger players not to get back to the highest moment, and that's that AFC Championship game. Let's go back to the first month of the season. He's not going to be able to duplicate those numbers that he put up. He was amazing from the beginning to the end, and also in the playoffs. So in doing that, I remember when I broke the NFL record in 1994, I had to make sure that I didn't get carried away in setting my goals the following season, even though I was able to get the receptions. But, like, it really wasn't realistic for me to duplicate that. And when you're having record-breaking seasons, you have to you're in a team sport, so you might have to share the ball. The defense might not be as good. Your running game might be better. The offensive line might not be able to protect the quarterback. So for me, don't take yourself. Let's go back through the whole process again. As hungry as you were last year when we started the season, have the same focus week in and week out. Don't get carried away. And those things are hard to impossible to do when you've been as successful as he was the first year.
Let's just remove 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards for the moment, because it's one of the 3 most prolific quarterback seasons anyone's ever had. So Mahomes could end up being a multiple-time MVP and never statistically duplicate that year as far as those raw numbers. So can he be as successful? Can the team be as successful as they were last year? The only reason the offense wouldn't be as good, even if the numbers aren't the exact same, is if the scrutiny and the pressure of expectations end up being a negative for this team. Because Chris is absolutely right that last year there was so much excitement surrounding Mahomes because he was the first quarterback the Chiefs had drafted in the first round since Todd Blackledge in the early 1980s. He was taking over for Alex Smith, who, while Alex Smith had done well in Kansas City, Chiefs fans had soured on in a way it was he'll be good but not good enough. And so it wasn't like it wasn't a situation where you're taking over for the Hall of Fame guy. And no, people were excited no matter what Patrick Mahomes would do, and he never had a moment of adversity. His worst month of football was December last year. In December, he had 13 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 106 rating. There wasn't that stereotypical bad 3-game stretch that you got to pull yourself up from. You would imagine something like that will happen this year, and you go into the season instead of with the hope being, hey, can the Chiefs get back to the playoffs? The expectations right now for the Chiefs are, can Mahomes repeat as MVP, and can they get to their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl IV? Like, is that going to be too much for any player, much less a player to your point?
I think that's too much.
Well, but that's what that is what is sitting on their shoulders.
Well, I think winning their division. I mean, they're in probably the toughest division in football. Winning their division, getting back into the playoff. They are not a perennial playoff contender. So just setting Super Bowl aspirations like right now, no. Most of the great offenses that we've had, one of those I was on, they did not duplicate those numbers in that following year. Even the greatest show on turf, they had some great seasons. They weren't able to duplicate that record-breaking season. Tom Brady, his best season ever. What did he do that following year? They weren't able to duplicate it. The 98 Vikings, highest scoring team in the history of the league at the time. They weren't able to duplicate it. So I would pump my brakes just a little bit, because history would say, as you would tell me, history would say it's hard for the most prolific offenses to duplicate that the following year.
So when Eric Mangini is out here, he talks so much about part of the reason that the Patriots are so successful is because they never go into the year sort of thinking about what they did last year. It is a completely clean slate. They're starting at ground zero with everyone else, and a lot of teams just can't do that. They piggyback so much on the success they had. But how important is it for Patrick Mahomes to make sure you take everything what you had, put it in the rearview mirror, and say, I'm starting fresh. Like, this is important to me to just start with the rest of my team. Yeah, we're going to kind of run it back. We have the similar team to we had last year, but we have to start where everyone else started, not at the AFC title game.
Yeah, I think he's done a pretty good job in the soundbite there. You hear him talking about his teammates, and he's got to build some rapport. Damian Williams, the running back, they have to get a consistent running game. They have to create some new niches with their offenses to keep defenses off balance. I think that Andy Reid, he will help control all that, but every game, every year is a story in itself, and none of them are written before the season. Look at all the seasons we tried to cover and been like, this team's going to do this, and we get it wrong. I would just expect the NFL will do certain things against Kansas City that they did against the other most prolific defenses. If you see in the playoffs, what did people think? People said, don't blitz Patty Mahomes. In the playoffs, that's what they did. So you can expect to see a more steady diet of that. How did the Chiefs adjust, and do their marquee players and their role players feel the role that Andy Reid sets out for them?
And I agree with Coach Mangini from a team perspective, but what is duplicable year over year and what teams do expect year after year is if you have a great quarterback in this league, and I believe Patrick Mahomes is that. I don't think he's just a great I think he's a great quarterback in this league, that you expect excellence from that position year after year. You hope they add something to their game, especially early in their career each year. So to me, the questions about the Chiefs, will they reach expectations? Will they be able to duplicate what they did last year? Are not really questions about Patrick Mahomes. It's, will the defense be as bad as it was? Will Damian Williams be able to play a full season? Can Tyreek Hill duplicate the unbelievable production he had last season? Those to me are much bigger questions than about how good will number 15 be.
But if we're going to cover this league, we're going to question the quarterback, just like we questioned Tom Brady, and we've been questioning Tom Brady for the last 15 years. The most talented quarterback we have in the league is Aaron Rodgers, and every week we question Aaron Rodgers. Oh, is he really that good? Oh, if he was that good, why isn't he a force multiplier? Why isn't he winning more? Why can't he do more in the playoffs? So you can believe Patty Mahomes is going to get that same type of scrutiny. Ben Roethlisberger, oh, is he washed up? No, we scrutinize every quarterback in this league, and the ones that are better, we scrutinize them even more. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Patrick Mahomes, the rest of the book, writes, because we're still early in it.
Right.
But Aaron Rodgers, successful very, very early, won a Super Bowl early. He's been under the scrutiny, so you can believe Patty Mahomes will be under the gun. Everything he does will be questioned.
All right, let's take a break, talk some basketball on the other side. Hey, how close did the Clippers get to trading for James Harden? That's next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM, and we'll be right back.